Well, we're at the storage place. Pick up this bad boy. Dan got all hyped over it while we were on power tour. Man on a mission, but our mission is a little low. So this person is parked ridiculously close to us. And I don't know that we're going to be able to plug her in. So probably have a few rage fits and get back to yous. Well, I don't think we're going to make it reach myself. He believes. So we'll see who's right. That's a tight fit. Okay. Well, maybe he does have it figured out. Ooh, lots of wind. Sorry, friends. As far as it goes.
Alright, plan B is...
What's plan B?
Make it work.
Okay, Tim Gunn. Well, let's get a mic on you so you can explain to the good people what you're doing. We'll be right back.
Alright, so we've got a situation with the little compressor. So, in Power Tour we saw a lot, well, I saw a lot, 55 Chevrolets. And I thought, I have a 55 Chevrolet, and I'd like to drive it. And I also have a flat tire on my 55 Chevrolet. So we got to figure out how we're going to get this thing pumped up, because that flat tire ain't doing anybody any favors. So we'll see if we can just jumper it right to the battery. I don't know what side's what here, but we'll figure it out. She's a runner. Well, I think I'm gonna change the tires. Unfortunately, I'm gonna need a tire, which is a pain. Hopefully they're, at one point they were all on back order not too long ago. So I guess we'll see. So I'll jack it up and put on some itty bitties I have. I do have a set of those something I have I can put on instead, but this will get it home. Yeah. Yeah, like look at this tire here. I'll get it off, but feels like brand new. Brand new last year, I guess. Look at this, it's all cracked and stuff. Like, that's bad. Probably just tube it, I guess. That's what race cars do. So I have these tires. Actually, I just got to peel these tires off, clean these rims up, and put a different set of, because I have an oversized set of tires to put on, but this will look goofy but get us home. Well, I nabbed some washers off the other side and this side, so we'll have 3 properly spaced, and then 2 that are just kind of for show. So that's not bad. And the other side has 4. I think. Well, that was a bust on that air compressor. Glad we didn't need it on the road trip. Bam! All right. Let's see what happens here. Well, we're on the road. It's got a bad miss. A couple of bad misses, which this thing last year, it kept running rich and foul and plugs for some reason. So I don't know what the deal is. Part of the thing I want to do is take carburetors apart, clean them. I have actually another set of carbs for it. So I thought maybe I'd do those instead, but it's not happy. Blowing out through the carburetor and out the tailpipes, so we'll see. But we got Danny behind us and we're not that far from home, so how bad can it be? Plus, look how cool it looks through the scoop. Maybe I can make it backfire through the carburetor. There we go. Look at that. Who needs power valves? Oh, that was a good one. No burnouts today. All right, well, a nice gentle cruise home, and we'll see. I got, like I said, I have those Pro Track tires. I think they're almost the same size as these ones. My plan was to put those on a set of wheels so I could go between the slicks and the Pro Tracks, but I don't know. I heard, actually, my buddy Josh over the winter time, he has a set of slicks, same thing, and I guess they crack, so you're not supposed to leave them outside. I guess I should read the instruction manual. I spent $700 on tires. Oh well, see you at home. Well, it is the next day. I put the tires back on. I just put air in. This was the one that was dead flat, so I put air in it and it was fine overnight. So this thing, as I recall, when I did the tires, it's got the valve stems that are screwed together and they may have leaked or something like that. These rims are also pretty mangled, but she's still full enough. A little cracked, but you know what? This ain't no race car. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, work on these carburetors, work on the tune-up a little bit. So, when I originally got this thing, I had it all together on a bone stock 454, and at the time, you're kind of limited for carburetors on these dual quad setups. So these are 2 450s, I believe, on them. And I have this setup, which are 2 600s. Now these were freshly rebuilt when I got them a couple of years ago, and they haven't been really run since. I've been sitting in the basement. And this was on a 400 small block, and ultimately there's too much kind of carburetor and screwing around for that little motor, and ultimately I don't even have that motor anymore. So I thought, what better is to put that on this, because this motor's got a cam and some compression and all that in it now, so we could use some bigger carburetors anyways. So we'll slap those on there, see if it runs a little better. These ones seem a little bit more adjustable and whatnot. And I got a new set of spark plugs, slap those in there and see what else we got to do on this. But should be a good runner at that point. Pretty simple setup. It's a 44 30 over. It's got a set of world product heads on it. Obviously tunnel ram, dual quads, turbo 400 with a stall, fender well headers. It's all rebuilt, stock suspension stuff, disc brakes, big honking rad. This is the same radiator actually I put in my 57 there. It has the same on the Nova. Cools good. Very, very basic setup, but it just works. I mean, a big block Chevy and a turbo 400 does have a stock rear end, which is glass, so we got to get working on that. But that's I think what I want to do. If I get this thing running a little bit better, maybe a little more reliable, I'll spend the money and put a 9-inch in it, or maybe a 12 bolt, see what's out there, and beat the tar out of it. I love this car. All right, so we're using the 56 as a workbench. I took the carburetor apart. I'll take this one apart, maybe a little more in depth and stuff, but ultimately this one was fine. There's a little bit of kind of goo in it, and the other thing, the float, there's just a little, I think it's supposed to be probably a clip so the float doesn't ride off the needle and seat, and that was missing. So I gotta find one of those. Otherwise, they've clearly just been rebuilt. Unfortunately, they used the junk gaskets. I only had a couple of the blue ones, so I'm putting them back together with that. So we'll take this one apart. I'll just kind of see what she looks like on the inside. I also noticed when I took that one carburetor off, there wasn't a gasket. I don't know if I did that or not. But we'll get this one jammed apart. I'll kind of show you. Unfortunately, I stored them with fuel in it because I'm an idiot, and that, well, that didn't help the situation. This side came apart. It was actually a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit of schmegma in there. We'll, kind of with some brake clean. Little lights. See this little clip right there? Focus. That was missing on the other carburetor, so I got to grab one of those. Otherwise, looks pretty decent in there. We checked the auxiliary pump. Well, it has fuel in it, but you can see, yeah, there you go. She's working good, so that's fine. Everything's good on that. I'm going to pull the rear float, make sure it's good. Check needle and seat. It's free, no issues there. Kind of, blow through it. We're all good. So we'll do the other side, blow it all with brake clean, and I guess we're going to have to get one, well, maybe two. I guess we'll see what's on the back side here. Clips. Okay, so here's the ugliness. So that's the little clip I was talking about. Needle and seat's good. But this, see our fuel, it turns to this gel kind of junk. And you get that in the carburetor and the jets, which you don't want. So, look at all this crap. We'll have to blow that out real good, clean it up. But as you can see, this is all new parts, which then sat in my basement for 3 years. But I have high hopes I'll be able to put it back together and it'll be just fine once it's all cleaned out. Modern gas is junk. Yeah, you can see where the fuel line was sitting, but gaskets are all good. That's clearly all new stuff. So I feel confident to put it back together and it'll work just fine. So the workbench is doing pretty good. We got everything all stripped apart. Those are the old carburetors. Bam, we got new ones on there. So, new carbs are on. The linkage is good. Unfortunately, I like them in the top hole, but I have kind of a small drilled piece. So I think they sell little spacers to do that, to size it down. And the only reason is it's just going to have more leverage up there, so the throttle's probably a little more touchy down here, but it should be okay. Snaps back, does its thing. I ran a new fuel line. This is actually fuel injection hose, so it's good. All no issues there. Yeah, I changed all the vacuum ports, all new caps, man. The caps just never last anymore, right? And I also found these in the basement. So I bought these a while ago. I didn't know what I was going to put them on originally. I kind of thought on this one, but this one I need to run shorter valve covers. I don't know, they're tall ones. I don't know. But I'm thinking I might put them on here. These ones they were nice, but they're a little beat. They can be cleaned up, I'm sure. Oh yeah, these will clean up nice. So I think I might pull these off. The only thing is I don't know if I glued the gaskets to the valve covers, but let's take it off and see what happens. Yikes, look at that. That's water. That's no good. Oh yeah, I forgot all about this thing. This thing has fancy valve train and everything on it. Oh, look at that. Roller rockers, all adjustable stuff. Oh yeah, it had fancy valves, big valve springs. Forgot all about that. So, I mean, a little bit of water, not the end of the world. Pretty common here. Hasn't had an oil change yet. We'll get it up to temperature, get nice and hot. Whoop, point my face. Get nice and hot, and then drain all the oil out. And yeah, look at this. Merlin heads. I thought they were world product. I think maybe it's the same thing. Anyways, it's actually kind of a racy little motor we got here. But valve covers just had a little bit of schmoo holding it on. Nothing crazy, so I'll be able to swap them out. And I guess I can check, see if I even have any valve cover gaskets. And I might just give it a quick spray with brake clean, get all the junk in the pan. All right, so I got her fired up. Sounds pretty decent. I'll put the microphone by the exhaust for you. Now, the only problem we're having is I've got no squirter for some reason. Just attach my mic here. So if you look right at the booster, the squirter I should say, sorry, there's nothing coming out. So when you wrap it, it has that stumble. So now we know the booster was working here, and if I press on it, it's real hard to press, which means it has a blockage because we know it's working. So take out these top, you know what, instead of talking over these bald eagles, we'll shut her off. So anyways, the squirter, or the discharge, it's hard to see because this thing has this choke locked out. This comes out, and there's two little squirts that go into the primaries. So we'll pull that out. Typically in there, there's like a little check ball and sometimes a little T-piece, kind of won't let it kind of go backwards. Like it's a one-way valve essentially. And I'm sure what happened is it's just full of junk. So I'll take that out. I think I used lots of brake clean, unfortunately. But we'll go through that, get it all dialed. I put new plugs in. I gapped them a little more. I put some AC Delco plugs in. I've been running Champions. We're always swore by Champions. This thing just chews through them. So we'll see. Seems to run good. I mean, actually, it revs not bad. It's a pain revving in the city because people get a little but it just has that stumble. It falls on its face. Obviously, with the zero accelerator pump, will do that. So I set the mixture real quick at idle. I think it's decent. So the throttle is very touchy. Like it's an on-off switch. So I think I'll probably end up re-drilling, or maybe I'll weld a washer, or I'll do something on those that arm to give it a little bit more, easier progression. And yeah, but Danny's making supper. We're having enchiladas, so I'm gonna go eat till I'm sick, and probably be out later to tune this thing a little bit. Okay, so I pulled the squirters apart. Now, a little tech tip: if you're nervous, take the carburetor off. But you want to make sure you keep the butterflies closed. When you take this apart, there's a screw, a little squirter, and there's a little gasket, a little O-ring type thing, kind of like a banjo style, like on a brake system. Now, if you drop it down there, it's not the end of the world because it's gonna get caught in the butterflies. But if you start messing with the throttle, it'll fall into the intake, which you don't want. Now, when you have it all apart, you don't have to run the throttle to test. You could just move the squirter with your finger here. As you can see we have fuel. And all you do is push on the accelerator pump. So they're working fine now. So that's problem solved. I think I'm probably gonna re-drill these just so they're the same. Now you wanna make sure the holes are about kind of the same so the linkage goes equally. It just seems like it's so stiff. I might just put them up there and leave them sloppy. Use a washer for now, and it'll have a little bit of play. I'm gonna do that right now and see how bad it turns out. Okay, well, I was just messing with the carburetor, giving a bit of a tune-up, and we ran into our next problem. We don't really want wide open throttle on cruise control. So it's fine up until most throttle, but it over centers. And she's not happy. So what we really need is to pull this kind of up, or at least straight. Pulling it down just doesn't matter how much you're doing. So either that, or I have to run a spring backwards somehow. I'll have to play with this a little bit, or move some stuff around and do whatever I gotta do, but it works. And I tell you what, when it did lock itself on wide open throttle, it revved good. These carburetors, there's the ticket. This thing's gonna be an animal. It's been a day or two since I was filming. I don't remember where we ended, but the car's back together. I did drive it to work. It's got all kinds of jam. It's like a fun car to drive again. I absolutely love this thing. I put maybe 50 miles on it. I pulled a couple of plugs and they were perfect. they weren't fouling up or nothing like that. So that was golden. It runs cool. There's no real issues. So I think we're gonna go take it for a little test drive. It's supposed to rain right away here for the weekend actually. So we're gonna go put some miles on it. You guys get to experience that, and then maybe a couple of drive-bys, get Danny to hop out. And really, I think that's kind of it for this thing for a little while. I just want to drive the hell out of it. I do think I want to pay up and put a 9-inch in it, because then I can actually beat on it the way I really want to. But let's get on the road. All right, so we're on the road. This thing's running pretty darn good.
Are we on the road?
We're on the road.
Is this the road? Are we on it?
But, so this thing, like, it revs so fast now. It's got no screwing around. I love this car. It sounds good. We got these mufflers on it that, well, we'll get out and do a little revving on it, but they're electronically controlled, so they have dumps to either go kind of straight through or else they're muffled. And man, when they're muffled though, like that's, the car's still running. You can barely hear it. And you unmuffle them, they sound awesome. So these things were like $100. They were on closeout or something like that. So we're gonna put some miles on it. I do want to change the camshaft in this thing, because I'd like to put a bit more of a lumpy one in, because race car. But this one actually, it does haul pretty good. We'll give her a bit of a roll here. There's a pile of traffic, unfortunately. People are driving slow. I think school's letting out right now or something like that. It's a little obnoxious. Unfortunately, this car, if you're making a racket and a cop hears it at all, there's no blaming anybody else. It was this car. So I got pulled over in this thing, it was last year, 2 years ago, and I was all over it. And the guy gave me a warning, which makes me think that that's probably in the computer and I'm not getting a warning next time. Because I was at the top of first gear and I banged second, and then I saw lights. So I don't know how fast I was going, but it was excessive. But I got a warning, so it's really no big deal. So maybe we'll do a couple of drive-bys or something like that. I mean, like, want to hop out, see where we gotta find the place. I used to, right here is a fancy restaurant. I used to love doing that back in high school. You'd set off all the car alarms. But now they put red light cameras up here, so you can't speed down this road. Some things never get old. All right, let's find a place to do some drive-bys.
Look at all like the filler.
Yeah, these are our roads. So next time you want to complain, it's bad. I think I do this on purpose. It's cheaper than speed bumps. Fortunately, I thought we were going to drive around here, but it's all constructioned up, so we'll see what happens. So we've hit traffic, so I think we're going to have to do the drive-bys and the scoot around maybe on the next video, or no, later this video. It's going to rain right away. We're starting to see.
And what are we doing tonight?
We're going to see Top Gun tonight.
After waiting how many weeks?
Well, it's been a couple of weeks and I've really wanted to go see Top Gun. So we're gonna do that. So tonight's out. We can't wait for the traffic to go away, and then it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So we'll finish this video maybe on Sunday. You guys won't even know, so we'll be back in the next like 8 seconds. We're gonna go on green. I'm going for it. This guy wants to race. Ostifer. See you tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day. It rained like crazy last day. One other thing, more upload. People always love this part. This has a little remote on the mufflers, and so it's going through the mufflers right now. And you hit the button. And it sounds awesome. So this is fantastic for the neighbors. So we're gonna warm up a little bit, do a little drive around. I love this
Yeah.
Alright, so we did a couple of flybys. Hopefully it looked cool and sounded cool. This thing's got so much jam. I am worried about blowing the rear end up completely, so I'm not really going to do any burnouts on it with the big tires. But we got a little couple errands to run, then I want to go home and I want to get a set of those big tires. I'm going to bring them into the shop and get the tires swapped over so we have a set of street tires, because these are like full-blown race slicks, which are a little crazy to drive on, especially in the rain, and I want to drive this thing all the time. We got to get the wipers working, and this thing will be like daily duty with the 57. So I think we'll see at home. We're strapping the tires on the trunk.
Even I can see that those weren't gonna fit.
So I had a bit of a guy moment and thought something was bigger than it maybe was. And so I thought these tires would fit on the 55. Now they would fit. Anything would fit. They're about the same height, so that's fine. If you go back and you look at the width-wise, so I got my measurements confused. So these tires are 13 inches section width, or whatever the width of the whole tire is, the bulge is, and these are 13 inches tread width. So they won't fit. Now I do actually have a set of wheels with a wicket offset, which would bolt on here and stick the wheels or the tires way out the side. So like that much would stick out past. But A, that's illegal here. And B, they're an old set of Keystones and they just don't look as cool. So if you need a set of overly large Pro Track tires, do I have a deal for you? So we're on the slicks until the wheels come off. But since we're not going to go ahead and do anything with this, we'll just put that in storage, and the neighbors love it. And I think that's it for now. We're going to go get some ice cream. That's the end of this video. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Enjoy 55 Chevrolets. They're fantastic.